Okay, I'd like to talk a little bit about the first AR-15 that I bought myself. It was June of like 2016, I should say, that I was in a Rural King at the gun section, and I saw that they had an Anderson AR-15 receiver on sale for $57. So I figured, well, I might as well buy it because AR-15s were so popular, and you had the election coming up, and I didn't know what the heck was going to happen. So I bought the receiver, and I figured I could build it up later. Well, about a month later, I saw an advertisement for a company called CDNN that's pretty much based in California, I think, and they had a whole complete rifle kit with everything you needed to complete an AR-15 except for the stripped receiver. And this is what the kit was. It came with a nice assault case, first of all, and when you opened up the assault case, you had you had a completed upper along with all of the parts to finish the lower. Well, this is the completed gun that I ended up building with it. Right here. And what we have here is your basic AR-15, except this handguard is what you call a quad rail. That is, it's got 4 rails on it. This is a mid-length handguard, and it's a free-floating handguard. Now, what they mean by free-floating is that the handguard does not touch the barrel anywhere, and that's good because you don't want really have your handguard to put pressure on the barrel for accuracy. If you want to get your best accuracy, you want to have a free-floating handguard. Just checking to make sure it's unloaded. I mean, I know people are real upset about that, So if you look at this AR-15, you see it's just, this is what we used to call back in the 70s and 80s, we used to call these military-style rifles, or we would sometimes call them black rifles. We never called them an assault weapon back then because they weren't really assault weapons, because an assault weapon is a machine gun. It always was. Back in the 70s and early 80s, you go to a gun range and you would see 10 or 15 Mini 14s before you would see one AR-15. They just were not that popular back then, basically because they were so expensive. Back in the 70s, 80s, AR-15s, they would go for like $1,000, which was big money back then, So they weren't that popular back then. But now there's like 14 million of these rifles out and owned by the public now. It's like the #1 most popular rifle in the United States, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But the biggest reason why AR-15s are so popular in the United States right now is because the government hates them and they don't want us to have one. Now, when the government decided that we couldn't drink alcohol back in 1919 or 1919 when they did the Volstead Act, Prohibition, they figured that they could pass a law and they could keep us from doing something. And the problem with that is we're Americans. Whenever the government tries to take something away from us, we don't let them get away with it. So this is why this gun is so popular, or the main reason is because the government hates it and they want to take us. They want to make sure that we don't have them. That's why it's so popular. The other reasons why it's popular is that this rifle right now is one of the biggest bargains you can get. You can buy a brand new AR-15 for under $600 now. You could build one even cheaper. This particular rifle cost me about $550 back in 2016 to build, and that includes the sight, it also includes the sling and everything else, and even a bunch of magazines for it. It's just one of the greatest bargains around. And the other great thing about this gun is the way it's designed. It's what you call a split receiver rifle. It has 2 receivers on it. It's got an upper receiver and a lower receiver. And these 2 receivers are held together by 2 push pins. So it makes it a very versatile gun. You can get an AR-15 in all kinds of calibers now, not just 223, 5.56. You can get them in 300 Blackout and 7.62 by 39 Russian. You can get them in 6.5 Creedmoor, 350 Legend. There's even more calibers out there, up to like 45 or 50 caliber. You can get different kinds of uppers for you can get in this gun. You can even get a different version of this gun in 308, which is the basic NATO round right now. But if you look at this rifle right here, you can see how simple it is. You have your selector right here. This just says for safe or fire. That's all you need, safe and fire. You have your bolt release. If you have when you put a magazine in here, an empty magazine, this is your charging handle. This is how you load the gun. When your magazine is empty, your bolt will lock open. This is okay, where we go. This is your magazine release right here. Look at this, your finger is right there. You drop your magazine. You press this. That'll load your amp. That will reload your gun if you put a loaded magazine in there. It's that simple. Like I said, if you look here, this is your magazine release. Your finger's right there. This is your selector switch. Your finger's right there. It's just brilliant. It's just simple, easy to use. The firepower in this gun is amazing because your standard capacity magazine is 30 rounds. This is just a powerful rifle, which is one of the reasons why the government hates it so much. But like I said, one of the other reasons this gun is so popular is that it's easy to upgrade. If you want to take the lower off of this gun, you just push these two pins open. And you can remove the whole receiver. According to the US government, this is the gun. This upper is nothing. This is just gun parts here. This is the gun. And what is amazing about this particular rifle, the AR-15, is you could just buy one of these right here. This is another upper. This upper is in 223 Wild, but it could be in 300 Blackout. It could be in 350 Legend or 6.5 Creedmoor. And you could just, all you have to do is just take your lower here, stick your upper on there, push your pins in, and you've got another freaking gun. It's amazing. This one's got a 2.5 by 10 power scope. It also has some canted iron sights for a backup. So you can either look through the sight or you can look through the iron backups, which is nice. But we were talking about my first gun. This is from my second build here. But I just wanted to show you how easy it is to upgrade these rifles. Why they're so popular and why there's 14 million of them or so around here. Geez, I'm trying to get this thing out. I got one pin. There we go. All right. This was part of a kit, like I said, a rifle kit that I bought from a place called CDNN. And it came with this upper already put together. This whole rifle kit here that had all of these parts here, including this magazine. It had all these parts in the magazine and the case. It was $410 shipped. So with $410 plus $70 for this receiver, we're talking less than $500 for the complete gun. This scope was only about 40 bucks. It's a cheap scope, but it works good. This is your basic 16-inch barreled carbine barrel. It's in 5.56 NATO, so you can shoot it. You can shoot either 223 Remington or 5.56 NATO. So I believe it's got a mid-length cast system. The bolt carrier group on this is a Toolcraft bolt carrier group. And this is like they call this melanite. It's a very smooth coating on this bolt carrier group, and it works really good. It's a nice, you know, for $400 it was a good deal. Put this thing back together here. Now what happens is that you have a gas tube coming off of the barrel here. Gas is tapped off the barrel as a bullet goes past. The gas comes up through a tube, and the tube goes into the bolt carrier assembly, and it just pushes the bolt carrier assembly back and unlocks the bolt. And as this bolt carrier recoils back, it recoils into your buffer and your spring inside your stock buffer tube assembly here. It's just a brilliant design. Eugene Stoner was a freaking genius when he made this gun. In my opinion, this is much better rifle than the than the AK-47. Much better. The only problem that I had with this gun is that it was a little over gassed. It would when I would fire the high power 5.56 ammo through it, it would push the bolt back a little too early before the pressure went down, and that means that it couldn't extract. It was having trouble extracting the spent case, and it would tear the head off the spent case. It's because it was over gassed. What I ended up doing is it came with a lightweight buffer. I put a heavy buffer in it. And ever since I did that, it's been dead reliable. It's just been a great rifle. For the price I paid for it, it's just a deal. If I was you, everyone who wants to own a gun should have one of these, just to have it for self-defense. You can get different uppers for this that you could go hunting with in most states. You just have to have a smaller capacity magazine for it. The AR-15 is the biggest bargain out there. It's so popular right now, and everyone's making these right now because they're so popular. And like I said, it's popular because the government hates them. So that's a great reason for you to buy one. And I was happy that I bought this gun. It's been great. And that's all I have to say. Thank you. Shut it off for the wife here.